guys just give me a minute to just get this all set up and we will get going. All right, so thank you everyone for being here. I am terribly excited to talk about this subject. Many of you know this is one of my many favorite subjects to talk about niche and how to launch your programs and how to make money really doing what you love. So without further ado, we will get down to business. If you don't know me, I will keep it short and brief. You can always go to rachelswellness.com, read the whole full story. But I am a business launch coach. I have been a health coach for over 7 years. I had a successful, sustainable business through, I would say, the ups and downs of holidays and different times of the year, and all that comes being a health coach. I have built a one-on-one practice as well as worked with people worldwide via Skype. I have partnered with gyms, chiropractors, acupuncturists, doctors. You name it, I have done it as a health coach. I have run online programs, do-it-yourself programs, run face-to-face programs. And so when it comes to being a health coach, I really do understand exactly what it is like to be in your shoes, which is also why I created the Done For You programs, because when I first became a coach, I spent so much time scrambling for different recipes and trying to put together what I knew my clients needed, which was more than just breathe and drink water and do X, Y, and Z, because they could find that on the internet and they could watch Dr. Oz and get that. They really needed support, and that's why they came to a health coach. Which also, after my education at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, I furthered my education at, I think, 4 different detox schools, because I realized that it wasn't just about the food on our plate, that there are emotional and physical blockages that keep us from moving forward as well. And so that is part of part of my education, but what got me to being a health coach is that I suffered with my own health issues. Asthma, ulcerative colitis, had an ulcer actually, my first one when I was 14, and I appeared healthy to everyone. And that is a big story that I hear from many people: appeared healthy looking, suffering on the inside, either with anxiety or a number of different health issues. For me, it was hormonal. For me, it was being told I wouldn't get pregnant and have babies, and there were just endless different, trips in and out of different doctors and specialists, and they were all necessary, and I'm so grateful. But after being told by so many different people, do X, Y, and Z, I swore to myself that I would not do that, and that one day I would help to empower other people. That was really a big thing for me. I felt so disempowered. So I wanted to empower other people to not be in that position that I was, being told to only do X, Y, and Z, which is why I don't believe there's one dogma of eating, unless you by spirit or by religion believe that you shouldn't eat a certain way. Because I tried every diet out there, I tried every way of eating, and over the years my body's changed and I have changed, and I think that's the beauty of a health coach, is we're really the opening window for somebody to understand how they are. As far as my own niche, my story was a huge part of understanding my niche, understanding my sub-niches, and understanding also my story and my backstory and how important that was to attract that ideal client. Back when I graduated 7 years ago, no one really we talked about niche and we talked about sub-niche, but it wasn't as important as it is today, especially in a world where there's a sea of health coaches, where there is a sea of just coaches, wellness professionals, people doing multi-level marketing, which I don't diss at all. I'm part of an essential oil company, but there are just a plethora of people who are selling different things. And so it's really important to know your story, to know your niche, to know who you're speaking to, especially when you are in such a busy world, whether it's online or offline. So I did make, and I say this very clearly all the time, I did make six figures before I became a business coach. I organically became a business coach because I had to make a decision between my health coaching practice full time or business coaching. I was doing both. And I decided that I would continue to, be a business coach because I wanted to really help and empower other coaches to break through mindset, to understand that they have to really work foundationally. They have to have opt-in freebies. They have to have a clear sales funnel. They have to understand their market and their niche, really, really understand their backstory and who they are, and have programs for visibility and authority to build a sustainable business. I have done everything in my business completely ass backwards. I didn't have a plan from the get-go, but what I did do is I put myself out there in many different ways, and that is what has brought me to a very healthy business today. We're still people, and they remain my VIP clients, who were original clients when I first started, still come back to me. I've seen grandparents all the way down to the babies in their family, and that is what I really call sustainable business. So when I think about my why, this is my why. And to keep it really, short, because I don't want to keep you on long on a Sunday night, and I call this Self-Care Sunday, pretty much is this. I was in commercial real estate for a very long time. I was very successful, very fast, based on just me being a walking billboard and people knowing that I wasn't going to BS them with a lot of fluff when it came to selling their building or giving them, a contract or talking to their lawyer. And pretty much I got out of commercial real estate. It was 1 year that I wasn't working for the first time in my life. And I decided to go to school at the integrative, school of nutrition, blah, blah, blah. And my husband had turned to me and said, hey, bad news is that we have lost all our savings. Good news is that we own our house. And I had to make a decision at that point to go back to commercial real estate or to pursue what I wanted to do and what I knew I was meant to do, and that was to be a health coach. So I always look at this picture, which is even in my office, of my kids and my why, because still today I support my family, and it is possible for you, whether you desire to make 20 grand a year, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100, whatever your goal is, it is possible, but it really has to be streamlined and it has to be clear with a goal and your niche. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how to nail down your niche to personalize your programs and make a ton of sales. Hell yeah. How to supercharge your programs to speak directly to your niche. This is really important because I see this mistake happen over and over. And I've written, done free programs for over 4 years. So I've been in this business for 7, and I've launched, up until last year, I've launched programs for clients and programs for coaches. So I know the mistakes I've made, and then I see the mistakes that other coaches make, which is that we go to launch a program, but we don't really step into our program. I've seen coaches who have not even put up sales pages and have made $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 because they owned their program and they knew exactly why they were launching it. And this was even offline. So we're also going to talk about how to master your message to your ideal client on Facebook and sell your programs, and how I went from totally broke to a massive client waiting list using those same programs, and how to multi-purpose your programs. Because I think a lot of coaches get stuck in, and no, we all have shining brilliance areas. For me, I don't know if it's ADD or ADHD or whichever one, but I feel I'm blessed with this ability to just craft things and put things together. It's probably why I loved real estate. So I have this ability to see multi-purpose within programs. That's why when a coach says to me, should I buy VIP? I always say, oh yeah, because I see. So if you've ever emailed me and asked me this question, I will say, I see it like this. And I will map out exactly. And they say, oh my God, I never even thought of that. Or I never thought of combining this program. So we're going to talk about all of these areas briefly tonight. So niche, the first questions that you always should be asking yourself, and yes, I will be taking questions after this. So that's why I want to go through this so I can really touch on your questions and really serve you in the best way that I can. First questions that you should be asking yourself always when it comes to niche, because niche are really the people who you serve. I mean, that's it. It's that simple. You can get into like more specific, but it's really the people who you serve and why are you serving them? So when you think about that, who are your people? Like, what is the wake-up problem that they're facing? And what was the wake-up problem also that you were facing? So a lot of people will often say to me, whether you're in one of my paid forums or you're joining the launch school, or maybe you've been in a mastermind with me or you're in the free forum, somebody will say, well, I want to focus on fertility. And I'll say right back to them, well, why would you want to focus on fertility? And they say, well, it's just, this is something that I just am seeing a lot. And I say, well, was this an experience of yours? And they'll say, no, I'm just seeing this a lot. Often our niches, even if that's an area you're seeing a lot, a niche usually is an area of something that you have dealt with, or maybe somebody really close to you has dealt with, that propelled you to go to school, or that propelled you to become a coach, or that propelled you to become a fitness coach, or propelled you to go to school for yoga or meditation. It propelled you to drop to your knees and say, that's it. I'm making this change. So would fertility be part of the sub-niche of I work with people who have hormonal imbalances? Yes, and you think of a great example of Sarah Gottfried. Or you think of an example, and Mark Hyman isn't even in with hormones. I think of more like Kressler. I think of, a few people that come to my mind specifically just for hormones. I think of Dr. Rita Marie Lasconso, the endocrine system. So when you think hormones, a certain person pops into your head. When I say gut, you probably think, oh, Alejandro Younger. Oh, Josh Axe. And when I think about Mark Hyman, I think, oh, insulin resistance, fat, weight loss. So I want you to start thinking about the very people that you even follow. What niche? Even by saying their name, you instantly have 10 words that probably come to your mind. As well as you can see what I call memes, the images that they have. Food Matters. There's, the company Food Matters. Their brand, what do they stand for? Who is their niche? It's pretty clear. Mind Body Green, Gabby Bernstein, Mastin Kipp. Who is their niche? Starts to get real clear when you think outside of yourself. So what does your dream client do, and what are they doing on a Thursday afternoon? Are they working? Or are they a stay-at-home mom, maybe? Or are they in their 60s and they're going through that, oh, damn it, 55, 60, menopause time, and they don't feel that great, but maybe they have retired. What are they doing? What are they doing on a Sunday? Are they a mom like myself on a Sunday, which maybe they're home with one child while my husband is at football with our son? maybe our Saturdays where I'm out with my son and my husband's in the pool with my daughter? Or is it that it's a young couple, corporate, working corporate in New York or Los Angeles or Chicago, or maybe they're in Dubai or France? What are they doing? What is that young couple? Are they suffering with adrenal fatigue and stress? And the gut is out of balance? Really think about it and write it down. You can even write it down. I always say, especially if you're going to join the launch school and you're about to download your homework, your pre-workbook homework tomorrow, these are some of the questions that I will be asking you. What do they struggle with? When I had ulcerative colitis, what was I physically struggling with and what was I emotionally? Because the emotional components are just as important as those physical. What age is your client? It doesn't mean you have to say I work with people between the ages of 30 to 40. That was kind of 5 years ago, that very specific. And it doesn't mean that we don't want to get specific, but you want to have just this avatar, as Marie Forleo says. You want to have this dream client, and many of you even have friends. So put a name to that. What do they look like? What hair color? Your target audience. As of when I was saying, Josh Axe. Now, is she your target audience with this little bubba cutie baby? What 10 keywords do you need to use in your marketing? What is she or he doing now? Because if this is your target audience, she's getting her little bubba. Probably she's nursing her little bubba right now, where she's getting her down, where she's rubbing her back in her crib. If she has older kids, she's trying to get her kids down, her other ones. But if she's, single, what is she doing? Or if she's in her 60s, what is she doing? What age, what sex, and how do they need your help? So when we think about your niche, we have to think about the message. It isn't just saying, I work with specific X, Y, and Z, and I help them X, Y, and Z. Although, note that you really want to get specific, especially when you're on Facebook, especially when you're on social media. So if I were to say, I remember, or if I were to start on Facebook and say, do you have, bags under eyes? Are you waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning with, pain in, your belly? Do you have constipation? Do you have belly bloat after you even eat a salad? Are you constantly worried about what you're going to eat because you don't know if it is going to hurt your stomach? I remember having those days. There was a time where everything hurt my stomach, and I lived on mono meals, smoothies, and didn't even know what to eat. That's not my life anymore. There was a time where I had to not eat X, Y, and Z, and now I can eat A, B, and C. If you are struggling to figure out what you need to put into your body, contact me for a strategy session or sign up for my gut challenge. Or, and again, hint guys, many of you have challenges. You don't have to call it a smoothie challenge. You can call it a gut challenge. Hint, hint. Many of you have other challenges. Many of you have challenges that you don't even realize can be multi-purposed to fit your niche. Or sign up for my brand new gut restorative program where we rebuild not only your gut, but your emotional stability when it comes to how not to worry about your gut. Tell me how profound that is compared to, hi, sign up for my program. You will blah, 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 blah. No emotional compelling voice there. Now, some of you may market and your niche may be more statistical based. Great. You know what? It's called test, test, test. On your Facebook posts with your niche, test to see who opens an email that's more statistical and who opens an email that is more Emotional based. Who opens an email that has to do with you? And who opens an email that has a little of a backstory about you, 2 lines, 3 lines maybe, and then really talks about them? So how do we make sales? We nail the niche, we talk on the pain point, we solve the problem, and then they buy. So really, this is even an opt-in freebie right here. The opt-in free, this is actually Facebook right here, Facebook post or Instagram, or even you at an event. You're talking about your niche, talking about the pain points, you're solving the pain points, and then you're leading them to a buy. This is the sales conversation. When we supercharge a program, this is an example. There was an entire sales page, so they got a lot more than just this, but this was an example of me taking 2 programs. I took the detox program. I took actually 3 programs. I'm sorry. Let me reframe that. 3 programs. I took the detox program. I took parts of the essential oil program, and I took the paleo program. Actually 4, I'm sorry. And I took the 2-week vegetarian weight loss because I wanted to appeal to different types of eating. I know in the detox, that would have been all vegetarian. And I could have, I could have had people that could have added vegetarian or vegan or omnivore options. We did 1 week of detox. Didn't take them into a transition, just wanted to do 1 week. We then did 3 weeks of the paleo combined. So we just repeated. And this was actually, and so I added in the 2-week vegetarian because the paleo did not have a vegetarian option, but I wanted to appeal to people who wanted to do this program who were vegetarian. So I took 4 programs and combined a page. I also led people, because they were learning about essential oils, into, hey, do you want to learn about essential oils? I also gave them a call to action. For the first people who bought within, I believe it was a week period, I sent them a lemon oil. So I believe I sold this program for, I have to look at the sales page, but I think it was $199. They bought in a certain period. It's a 30-day program. Yes, I did give a lot of materials. Yes, it could have been a 2-month program because there was a lot to just digest as I was just an online program. But I combined them, and I called it the Sisterhood Wellness Retreat because the niche that I focused on in the webinar had nothing to do with detox, nothing to do with paleo. I focused on adrenal fatigue. And I focused on what happens to women when we don't have community. And it was so transformational. And I have had people, and I talked about this in another webinar, I've had people actually email me to say, will you run this program again? And I've thought many times about doing that. Because it was just, I would love to make it actually a 6-month mastermind called the Sisterhood Wellness Retreat, because it was meant to be a body, mind, and spirit online retreat. So I want you to start thinking about your community, your business. I also want you to think, and even though I'm a serial launcher, meaning I love to launch. Some people love to have babies. I have 2. I love to birth new programs. That for me is how I create. Some people draw and paint. This is what I do. But also serial launching can get tiring unless you really think strategically about how your community wants to be supported by you. And so when I always say this should have been a 6-month program, if I would have, and let me just take out my calculator, and for any of you who know me well, you know that I call her Susie. So if I would have even said this was a group program at $99 a month and gotten, and there were 50 people into this program, I think. If I would have gotten 50 people into this program, that's $5,000 a month. I would have made this a $6,000. a 6-month program, that's $30,000. So for many of you who are sitting there saying, okay, how do I make 30,000 as a coach? I just showed you. And the thing is that the niche had nothing to do with detox. It had nothing to do with going grain-free, but I did talk on that webinar about adrenal fatigue and lacking community and needing a plan, and also needing to have access to me in a closed and private forum where they could really get the support that they needed. How to master your message. Number one, it has been proven whether you go to design school, whether you're an architect or whether you're a graphic designer or a webmaster, it's been proven that we see images before we see words. That's why on a sales page, even if you have a lot of words, you have to break it up with space. It's not only strategic, but it's just how the brain flows. So when you master your message, and when I was working on a program called Sexy Gut, which is, I had a whole like sexy detox, sexy gut. I was having everything build around, and this is what we're going to talk about in launch school as well, is you have to tell a story. The biggest mistake that I see coaches make is they don't tell a story. They spend a shitload on a website, anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 to 5. Or maybe you make it yourself, which I always say is a great option if you can, only because it gives you the ability to visually see what is your brand first, or what you're about. I'm not saying don't hire a designer, because a great website's really important, but you start to be able to tell the story. And the biggest mistake that I see often with coaches who are launching programs or launching their business is they don't tell a story. They're so busy in the Excel spreadsheet, which, don't get me wrong, is really important when you're planning your business and you're planning your 2017 and you're planning a launch or an email sequence or email automation or any of that stuff. But it's equally as important to think about what are people going to get to know you for. And so if you want to sell a gut program, or you want to sell a cleanse, or you want to sell a weight loss, or it has to be part of you for a reason. And we go back to that, how to master your message on Facebook. This was an image. I think at the time this got 50 likes. Don't get me wrong. Facebook has changed drastically. Our Facebook pages do not get the same traffic that they once did. I talk about this in every webinar. But also give people really great information. And also, right at the bottom, I actually had this link to grab 4 guides and rebuild your gut. I could have easily done a bit.ly here. But I was also testing out, do people like images without the bit.ly? Do they just like images with the bit.ly? Do they like images with the link? So I was testing out, which is what I always say, to test out and see what people like, because right there, grab 4 free guides, rebuild your gut at Rachel's Wellness, and I had 4 free guides that somebody could go, and one was on rebuilding the gut, and one was a clean eating detox, and one was a juice cleanse, and they were all about really what my coaching was about. So that's just an example of some of, a lot of the memes and the images that I put out on a daily basis. And that's what my Facebook page was loaded with, to just give you, an example. So when I say totally broke to, now, many of you don't, see me as kind of like in the beginning of my health coaching practice. In Florida, I knew nobody. I had to build a tribe. I had to go and meet people. And I had to meet people around who were owners of gyms and were chiropractors and were, here's one which is Moms on a Mission, which was a group that I worked with for 2 years. And we just did, this is actually the owner, Pam, and we did challenges. So I would come in and do the talks, and then I would work with moms. This was a gym where I partnered where we did 30-day challenges, 60-day challenges, 90-day challenges. From both of them, I got one-on-one clients. I also partnered with a lot of different places to do free events, paid events. I also rented out yoga spaces and did 4-hour VIP kind of days where I, charged like $125 for, people to come in, and had a belly dancer and had people, we would make protein balls. And I mean, it went on what I did with not only my coaching, but with the programs, because I had a platform and I had everything that I had done at these gyms. I had, and at chiropractor's office and at a yoga studio. And when I did another yoga studio on adrenal fatigue, they all came from the materials that I had in the Done Free programs. So I just wanted to kind of show this. I think one of the owners was actually taking a picture of this because they were recording it so it could be on TV. But I encourage you to really go offline, because as you build your online presence, you have to build that offline. It's really vital for your success, so that they both ebb and flow. Do-it-yourself programs I had from day one, because a lot of people couldn't afford to work with me one-on-one, and I really wanted to give them a viable option to be able to work with me. And that was why I created Do-It-Yourself. It wasn't to save time or say, well, I don't have enough time, because Do-It-Yourself programs, or do them in the comfort of your own home, for many of you, you still include a kickoff call and a wrap-up. You're just pre-recording it. But it still takes the same amount of work to market a program. So I think it's really important to understand that. Do-it-yourself doesn't mean that you're not putting work into it. Marketing is marketing. So the solution, multi-purposing your programs. This was Sexy Group Coaching that I had done. Sexy Group Coaching was about me saying, okay, just as I said before, instead of launching and launching and launching, why don't I just do group coaching and charge $99 per month? And I moved into that model, and it worked really well. And people were able to come in and ask me questions, and I was able to funnel the Done Free programs through there, and I was able to funnel essential oils through there and get one-on-one clients. And I also created an option where someone could buy the program, or they could buy the program with a one-on-one session with me, which a lot of people did. Also, always created a call to action, meaning that if somebody wanted to, if somebody wanted to buy within that first, 7 days when I launched, they got, an extra bonus or an extra gift. So let me just take a few questions. I see. Hi, Fatima. First time calling in. Does anyone have a question before I go any further, just about the programs, or just about your niche, or how to niche your specific programs? Or does anyone have a question based on what they're doing right now in their business, especially with 2017 coming up? This is such a vital time for January, February, March, when everyone decides to make those decisions to change their life. You can just pop a question right in the chat box. Oops. I don't see any. Oh, okay. Let me see. Jessica saying, I'm scared to niche myself. I'm just starting out and feel like I will be limiting my clients by doing that. That is a phenomenal question, Jessica. So this is what I would say is, niching yourself doesn't mean that you have to say, I only work with these people. What I highly suggest first is that you step back and you look at your own story. your own story is so vital to the people that you're going to attract. So what I would encourage you to do first is really write down your own story. What did you go through? Did you go through like losing weight? Did you go through, I mean, and for some of you, there might not be this like horror story. It doesn't, you don't have to have a horror story to have success with your clients. Please know that. But I'm sure there was something. You didn't just wake up one day and say, wow, I want to be a health coach. That looks like a really cool job. There has to be something that brought you to this place. So I really encourage you to think about that. Is it, and if you can't, you know, one of my best advice always is to think of a niche that is really easy. Most people in the world have issues with sugar. Most people in the world have issues with weight. And so if you say something general, such as, I work with men and women who are struggling to, you know, find healthy recipes in their really busy schedule. They have, you know, forgotten to do self-care. They're gaining weight. They are, you know, having poor sleep, and they're looking for a solution to X, Y, and Z. And make it really clear. Again, if there's a part of your story that is infused into that, great, you know. But if not, just cut. Don't be scared to take a step. And you can also do this by testing out on Facebook, or even saying to the very people in your life, hey, you know me, guys, you know, or hey, can I kind of survey some of you? I have these amazing programs I'm going to be putting out. What are your biggest problems? And then you start to see what are people really struggling with, and how can you be of service to those very people that you even know, because they are a mini, you know, almost like a mini, the mini spectrum for what is really out there, and the people that you probably will attract. So I would say start with one that is like, you know, weight loss or sugar or energy. I mean, those are three areas that I think most people are struggling in, and most people would like support 100%. And tell me if that helps. Karen saying, yes, can I get all the freebies and everything? I keep seeing to sign up for just sending me now on the page to sign up, and then took me to. Okay, let me just hit escape for 1 second. Okay, so if we go, if we were go to like the programs, I don't know if you were asking about the programs, so I just want to be specific. If you are asking about the programs, for example, each of the programs, and the way I do it like this is like these, for example, right here are, and you can see them, like if I actually pull them out. All of the opt-in freebies in our Rockstar programs are your list builders. I call our Club Med like all-inclusive programs. That would be revitalize, restore your gut, and sugar repair. And if you were thinking about niching specifically with your opt-in freebies, you want to use your opt-in freebies. Even handouts are phenomenal. People love handouts and checklists. You want to use them to understand what people want to download. So have one on the front of your website. A client just said to me the other day, she was like, wait, Rachel, you want me to have 8 opt-in freebies? I said, yeah. She said, on my site? I said, no, I want you to have one on the front of your site and one on your blog. We're going to see what people are more attracted to. Then as you're writing blogs or you're doing Facebook posts, or even sending a newsletter out. You know, if you send a newsletter out and you say to people, hey, you know, I just want to say thank you so much. This is my gift to you. I'm giving you, a, an this guide on how to manage sugar cravings, or if you bought one of the opt-in freebies from www.healthcoachbiz.rachelswellness.com, like if you bought the holiday survival guide, or if you bought the smoothie challenge, or if you bought one of the programs, or you want to take advantage of like the Black Friday to Cyber Monday 15% off that we like almost never do, plus all the bonuses. Then in that newsletter, which I'm going to actually teach in the blog masterclass, which is something you also get, you want to have different clickables so that you see and you're testing even within a newsletter. You wouldn't want to do that if you were doing a sales newsletter, because you kind of don't want to have too many calls to action. But you could have one clickable that says, like, here's your sugar repair checklist. P.S. Here's your sugar repair checklist. But in the guide, you could actually say, here's a guide on like how to get rid of sugar cravings, so that you could actually see like what are they actually clicking on. And for all those people who clicked on that and took them to a segmented list or clicked on that, you would know, wow, all these people clicked over to that. So if they clicked over that, that could actually be taking them to a segmented list. And then you could be specifically emailing just those people instead of hitting your list all the time, which even if you had just a 30-person list or say even or 1,000 list or whatever your list size, instead of hitting them all the time, you start to segment by understanding and using opt-in freebies and really getting clear on your niche. So if someone hits that opt-in freebie link, you're like, oh, wow, they just signed up for that opt-in freebie. You can then specifically, hey, I'm doing a webinar on, how to get off sugar cravings, and then really target that list of those people who clicked over, whether they clicked over from Facebook, they clicked over from a newsletter, they clicked over from multiple places, and then just be targeting them and have that webinar even be evergreen, which means that you do one webinar and you make it so that you stop recording before you answer questions. And that is just a stable webinar that you have that talks about sugar and the niche, the problem, the solution, and what they want to buy. And so Karen, I hope that explained it. Maybe I took it a little farther. I see some people on this call who have been around the block with me, and I think for some of them, that is what they really desire and want to hear as well is, okay, how am I taking this to the second level? And that segmentation, even if you're a new coach, I wish somebody would have taught me this in the beginning. Because I was slamming my list instead of really understanding, wow, in one newsletter or one blog or one post, and I did this early in my career, not even knowing it. I had 20 opt-in freebies going. If I would have cultivated those relationships through email automation and segmentation, I could have been selling programs left and right to those segmented people, very targeted and niche specific. Laura saying, how often would you need to meet in your group coaching, or would you do a one-on-one call? I think, I'm not sure if it's Lara or Laura, but I'll say Lara, and you can tell me if it's wrong. Lara, that depended. Sometimes I would meet people. If we were doing like a 90-day, sometimes we did it each week. Sometimes we did it every other week. The moms group, we did a kickoff, we did a midway, we did a wrap up, and sometimes we did a shopping tour because it was just really fun. And moms always asked for it. They were like, oh my God, I'm so confused. Can you do a shopping tour? And so we always really tried to I believe in meeting clients where they need to be met. And so that was a big thing for me, was to meet them where they need to be met and to also give them the support that they needed. So with the gym, we did it, we did it different in different ways. For the 30, we met every week. For the longer ones, we met every other week. It's typical that If you're partnering, sometimes you do a 70-30 split, 70 to you, 30 to, but it also depends on how much marketing is involved with them. The other thing that can be really beneficial is if you just, go and say to a yoga space or, a place that has an area, or maybe you have an office or a home that has a large area. Even if you got 10 women, again, let's go over the calculator, 10 women to come to a month of coaching, let's say 127, that's 1,200, you know, $1,270. Say if you charge for a month of coaching, 157, and you got 15 people, that's 2,355. And say you did that for 2 months, it's 4,710. So I would do it as a group coaching. And then for people who needed extra support, I would do a one-on-one call. I mean, a one-on-one face-to-face. And if I was doing this online, of course, then if that person was not local, then I would do that as, a Skype or Zoom call. Jessica is saying, I want to work with women who are struggling with infertility, want to get pregnant, but I feel that would turn off people who want to just help. I would say, Jessica, I work with women who are struggling with weight loss, hormonal imbalances, and need support in getting their body ready for a very healthy pregnancy. I also work with women who are looking to, have more energy, have better sleep, have, less wrinkles on their face, and less bags under their eyes, so that you really are kind of honing in on both areas and not just, again, niching yourself too much into a corner that you're pushing away an easier target market, but that you could also have one program that is really specific to hormonal imbalances, almost like Sarah Gottfried, but that you also see Sarah Gottfried also has another program that is just about weight loss, and another program that's just about detox. So I would kind of look at that model, Jessica. I hope that's helpful, because if that were me, that is what I would do. Karen saying freebies that then to download and hide to e-sign in again. I'm finding things a little bit all over. Karen, I'm not sure what you mean e-sign. Do you mean that through a MailChimp or an Aweber or a form? If you can clarify that, that would be great. Or I may just unmute you at one point. Kim is saying, what niche would you say would be the best for sugar repair? Oh God, I think sugar repair, I think all of them have so many. For example, if I ran down each program, and let me just do this. Sorry if your eyes are bugging out from doing this. When I look at detox, I think detox, cleansing, hormonal health. I think also digestive wellness. I think, and under digestive wellness falls under sub niches like allergies. I mean, so the list can go on and on as far as like what you deal with. I also think about, people who, and again, these are conditions. These are like people who are struggling with headaches, people who are struggling with weight gain, people that have sugar cravings, people that have energy issues, people that are having fertility issues, because that always most often comes down to a lot of liver imbalances and toxicity in the body. Then when I think of paleo, I think of going, that's the whole thing of going grain-free, going primal. That was a big thing for my digestive wellness. So paleo also is about slowing down. It's about going to a primal state. So this is great for a lot of people. I use this program with a bunch of athletes, a bunch of gyms, CrossFit. It's huge. Grain-free is also great we all know about grain-free programs that are great for those with autoimmune issues and those with hypersensitivity to grains, even pseudo grains. So paleo program is great for that. Those with food intolerances. So when I think about paleo, I think of other sub niches that can really serve in that area, such as hormone balances. I know many coaches who have taken this and turned it into a thyroid program. Um, then essential oil is pretty clear. And yes, we don't just make this specific to one company. Um, when I think of raw, this actually was created because I saw that so many coaches think that raw needs to be done this one way, and we're all so different. Some people don't thrive on all raw. I'm raw until about 4 o'clock, and then I do have a cooked meal. Some days not, but most of the time, yes, because I just find that I get too deficient. After all the years of having digestive issues, it's real easy for me to fall into that deficient state, especially after many years of ulcerative colitis. So um, I wanted to write something that really talked about the fact that it doesn't have to be this black and white, and what is the power of raw, and cooling the body, and cooling the heat out of the body, but also how to warm digestive fire. Because if we don't have digestive fire, we have a loss of energy, we have bloating, we have weakness, we have loose stools, or we have massive constipation. So this really can be for so many different niches, people who are dried on a deep cellular level, so that you have, um, the wrinkles. And this can happen for a lot of people with digestive issues. When we talk about digestive issues, we talk about Hippocrates and all disease begins in the gut. I think about digestive issues cover so much. If digestive is out of balance, it affects all the systems, endocrine system, and then all of a sudden it's going to affect the sugars, and it's going to affect weight, and it's going to affect the adrenals. I mean, it's going to affect the thyroid. So raw can be, a great program to fit other niches as well. Then when I think about Revitalize, whenever a coach says to me, and I just said in one of the forums today, when someone said, Rach, what do you think? This is what I do. And I said, tell me your niche. And they said, mindset. Whenever I think about a program that is real mindset driven, I think Revitalize, and I do think paleo, because when I wrote Revitalize, it was really about changing the mindset. When I wrote it, I thought, how can we change anything in our life if we don't commit to change and put ourselves first? And so I wrote those transformational ebooks step by step for that reason, so that we could go into those parts before we even talked about, the food almost becomes irrelevant. Like, yes, we can't eat McDonald's and we can't eat stuff like that. No offense to McDonald's. But, if we don't make the changes, like in mindset, if we don't make the changes and let go of emotional toxicity, the body will stay sick no matter what. I know that from, from my own path, and I know that from working with people. So I always think of the niche with and I think of also with Revitalize, families and moms, and also people who are not looking for a diet. People are not looking for a detox. Revitalize for me is that well-rounded program. But the reason I added a 2-week weight loss in there was that there were some people who were doing Revitalize because they are higher glycemic grains. You can actually see the right there, the program. They are higher glycemic grains. They're not gluten, but some coaches had clients and who were not losing weight, and I was like, I'll put in a 2-week weight loss. I don't look at it as a standalone like easy weight loss. Do I not see easy weight loss here? Maybe I don't see easy weight loss. I see easy weight loss as, oh yeah, I don't see it. Sorry. I see easy weight loss as a standalone program that is a phenomenal one. And it's also its name, easy weight loss. I think when you look at, let me just pull up winter sales funnel. When I look at this, which if any of you were on the winter webinar, this is what we talked about. And this is always in my office. I mean, not glittery like this, but I'll know it now and have it like this. This is always what I think about. The opt-in freebie leading to what Ryan Dice and many others call the tripwire. Tripwire should be, you know, what, $5, $7, $17. This is like that lead into the group coaching, different prices, leading into your one-on-one. I look at easy weight loss as a nice tripwire. I've even told some of the coaches I'm working with, like, make easy weight loss or your detox, especially when they are buying VIP or they have multiple programs, to look at that philosophy, or to take one of the challenges and make that a tripwire leading into your group coaching. But easy weight loss is easy for that reason. I think easy weight loss is for that person who wants a simple 7-day program. They know it's not going to be these long-lasting, you know, crazy results unless you multiply that and you take that easy weight loss, which I've done, and multiply that into a 30-day program. Easy to change. Easy to change anything. Just got to think outside the box, multi-purpose. When I think about restore your gut, I think about the person who needs to be educated. They know, and they probably, if they have like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, or any autoimmune, and I talk about that in there, they're going to need to seek additional support. Like, most people need to go get additional tests. Whether they like the results that come back or the suggestions is on them, but that's why I always say, partner and find an acupuncturist, a doctor, people you can collaborate with, because it sometimes takes a village, it really does. It took a village to help me and for me to get to where I am in my life and almost turning 42, coming from a crap storm of health issues. And for many people with digestive issues, it's a very long-standing, you know, thing that has gone on, you know, even in utero. It just depends when it spilled over. But Restore Your Gut Health is a really great educational program as well, and really takes people like step by step through, you know, restoring their gut health and teaching them how important it is, and what they can do for it, and teaches them the basics, and also educates, you know, coaches as well. And I think that's a thing to kind of like, for us to not feel like, wow, we have to be the everything. To also be able to rely on like materials, which, you know, was the whole reason that I write so content rich. Some of these ebooks, which blows me away when I go back and look at them, I'm like, how did I write, you know, 8 ebooks? No, there's 4 ebooks here that are like almost 4,000 words or 3,000. And then each of these are 6 ebooks at about 2,500 words. I mean, it's mind-boggling how long that takes. But sugar repair is somebody for weight issues. There's somebody with adrenal fatigue. There's somebody with autoimmune. I mean, it covers everything that a person is dealing with. Gut issues, because when you have gut issues and pathogens, and when I interviewed Alex Jameson, who many of you know, and if you don't, she's a great person to follow. If there is an imbalance, and she looks at cravings from an Ayurveda perspective, from the dosha, there's an imbalance, you're going to have cravings. If there's candida or pathogens, there's going to be a massive craving for sugar. And if there's adrenal fatigue, there's usually a massive craving for sugar. If there's gut imbalances, there's usually massive cravings for sugar. And if there's imbalances in the pH, which I discussed in there as well, it's going to be like sugar, salt, sugar, salt, sugar, salt. So I think that there's so many niches and sub-niches that can be covered in each program. It's about your story. And I think that's a big thing that we don't hear enough about. I think everyone talks about launch, and, you know, the reason that I, you know, wanted to create this launch goal for health coaches specifically is health coaches are selling a lifestyle brand. It's kind of more like fitness is that you're selling a lifestyle brand. It's not anymore just that it's enough for you to slap a program on your site and get known. Those days have passed. It's that you're selling who you are, and what you're about, and the story behind how you got here and what you went through. Um, and also you need to know how to leak out your launch and drip out your launch, and also how to niche your programs if you do buy them. And by all means, if you don't buy them, I, I'm telling you, like, it's fine, write them. It just takes a while to write them. That's why I write them, and we spend the whole season writing them. Um, and that's why a lot of coaches are like, wow. But a lot of coaches buy the programs and they don't know what to do with them. And so that's why I wanted to do this webinar. I mean, yes, is the Cyber Monday ending tomorrow? It's also ending. And I think that sweet deals are nice because money back in any of our pocket is great. And I'm doing a 15% off on the launch school as well. But at the end of the day, if you buy something from me, I want you to use it. I want you to use it on your Work With Me page to build out your Work With Me page. And I want you to also start really thinking about your story, your backstory, and your niche. Fatima is saying, I would like info on the mastermind group. Would it help me? I think it would help anyone. I mean, that's why I created like the school. I know that it's taken me years to understand truly how to rinse and spin, segment, automation, all of that. And it's also a lifetime membership to a forum. Will be your community. I have a moderator in there. I'm really excited for it. And I already started uploading like the preschool materials. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm new, or I have programs and I don't know how to upload and I don't know what is kind of my next step. Office hours aren't going to just to be about questions, although we can do that. It's really going to be about like me sitting with a whiteboard and going over, very strategically, like what works and what doesn't work. Shelley's saying, how did you approach chiropractors in large gyms that didn't know you? Shelley, when I always say, maybe when push comes to shove and you got to support your family, things are a little different. And I just to let you all know, I'm an introvert, although you may not see that on Facebook. Maybe it doesn't appear that way, but I get massive anxiety attacks, like, thinking like, oh my God, I've got to go introduce myself, all that stuff. But I just would walk in to different places and introduce myself, and I'd be like, hi, is the owner here? I would give them a brochure. This was back when everyone had brochures. I'd give them a brochure, I would give them a card, and I would say, I would like to do a workshop. Is that something you guys do here? I also see acupuncturists myself, so I became friends with the very people that I would see. Then I would also ask those people, do you know anybody who are chiropractors or that would actually work in collaboration? I then became friends, with those people. And then if I went to see a chiropractor and I also, what happened is as I built that up, in the sense that as I built myself up in Florida by going and doing these free events, and it was just that I would go into these different places, and then when I would call gyms and be like, hi, this is what I would do. I got asked by a few gyms to actually come in and speak. And I just started meeting people. And this was even when my kids were really young. So I didn't have time for networking events. I didn't have that. I just made sure that I was visible. I put up flyers in places. I talked to moms. And I started seeing people. And I started seeing people one-on-one. And those people knew other people. And then all of a sudden, I would get a phone call and someone would say, oh, blah, 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 said they know you. And I was wondering if you could, work with me. Or my own doctor that I was seeing, she was like, wow, I've never met someone like you. Can I refer people? So we would work together. Then because I'm also in, because I've been practicing in a red state for so long, I would always say, I have to work in collaboration with your doctor. And then I would also find doctors in different places, acupuncturists in different, states, to work in collaboration. And that just was a place of comfort. I learned early on in my profession that I don't have to be the end all. And I don't want to be the end all. It causes stress. I want to be there to support. I want to be in collaboration. I want to, and if it's not my area of expertise, just like when people would say, well, do you work with hormones? I would say, no, I work with detox and the gut, but I can send you to this person, or can you have your doctor email me and we can talk and see if there is a way that you can get a hormone panel. So that's how I would do it. And then I would actually go into a gym or that yoga studio that I pitched to, and I would say, look, this is what I do. This is how it would benefit you. I'm going to promote you, and I'm going to be giving shout outs to you. And what you get in exchange is you're missing this part. You don't have programs. You don't have the time. And this is what I do every day of my life. I can do this in my sleep. And so I came to them with ideas that they didn't have in their business. And what does that do? That brings them visibility, and it also brings them a service that, again, they don't have. Jamie saying, I'm trying to figure out the best way to niche. Last year I found out Hashimoto's, leaky gut, and fatty liver. Prior to that, I was pre-diabetic. Jamie, I hear that because what you just said is kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's like if the liver gets tired, eventually the adrenals. When the adrenals get tired, eventually thyroid. Then we either fall into like what I am is like more hyperthyroid, or some people go hypo, or some people then move into the Hashi or the Graves, or leaky gut's been there all along, and then we get fatty liver, all that, AST and ALT and blah blah, and then all of a sudden A1C is high, and like we're just like, oh my God, it's a crap storm. So what I would say, Jamie, is focusing and saying, look, I work with, men and women who are, struggling to have a really healthy life because they are dealing with leaky gut and energy loss and, hair that's falling out, hormone imbalances. I have been there and done that, which is why I've created a 4-step system to help you X, Y, and Z. Like really keep it simple based on your story. And that, if I go back up here, Jessica, is exactly what I was saying. Because when we go back to our story, it really helps us to formalize our niche. And helps us to understand, and we get out of that, oh my God, am I going to mess up my niche? There's no messing up a niche. What the mess up is, and I'll feel like I'll start to rant like Gary Vaynerchuk or Eric Thomas, it's like the mess up is when we don't do anything. So I really encourage you, don't make that mistake. Karen saying, no, it's on your page, so sign up and download your X, Y, and Z. Karen, if you can just... after this, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email. That would be awesome, and I can help you. I can help you. I can help look on exactly where that is, because I promised my little ones I would give them a kiss tonight. You can definitely use handouts as opt-in freebies. Handouts, checklists, especially from any of the programs. Drink Me Skinny, which is in Revitalize. I renamed that, remarketed it, reniched it 3 different times, increased my list by 171 on one, 285 on another time. I mean, it was epic. It was like, I couldn't believe how many people. And I thought, wow, I really was not understanding that my niche is like weight loss, and I was just talking gut, and then I changed my tune. So your niche is also going to change based on your audience changing. Remember, people come in your sales funnel at different times. Karen's saying I'm doing a launch goal in a moment anyway. It's all good. Then you'll get to hear me rant all the time. Um, yes, you're saying you get emails saying, hey, have this. I get confused with all the do. I have it all. Yes, Karen, if you want to even just send me a personal email, that's usually the best thing. I mean, I'm not saying like for everyone to send me mass amounts. Um, but if there's like a confusion or you really feel like you need to just ask me something, if you feel like you can tag me in the forum, awesome. Um, but if there's like something confusing, I'm not getting it on a webinar, I really want to always be there for you guys. Just shoot me an email. But Karen, you did give me a good laugh tonight, so thank you. Lara, oh, awesome. That's a beautiful name. Totally a beautiful name. Like really, yeah, really a beautiful name. Okay, Karen saying, have you got anyone who can advise on how best to set up a website and run these programs? Yes, I actually do. We can talk about how to set up a website. I do like Squarespace. I do like Weebly and Wix. I think, but if you do want to have someone set them up, we can talk about price ranges. And I can lead you to different people 100%. I have been testing out virtual assistants. I will say this openly. I have, sent a few people to different ones, and unfortunately, sometimes virtual assistants don't show up to the game. So I always suggest, don't buy blocks of time at first, even though you may save a little. But I do have a few virtual assistants that I've been testing out, and they are responsive and they're good. So yes, and also I do have a coach that I am talking to that has the ability to set up these programs and opt-in freebies like in a second. So I'm looking at a lot of different options because I know this is the tech part for a lot of you guys is where it really gets sticky, and then you don't focus on your marketing, and then that's like really the tough part. Oh, Anita, hi. Yes, it was 7 p.m. in Florida, not in Louisiana, but that is all good because I am going to send a replay. It is all good. But I am sorry, Anita. Yes, it is fine. Excuse me, guys. I apologize. Okay. Jody is saying, no, Jody, that is my goal. We have a few goals this season. I don't know if I'm going to get to it this season, but I'm writing this down. I do want to get a vegetarian option for easy weight loss. That would be epic. My goal is that every program that I have moving forward has that option and I want to go back and make an easy weight loss vegetarian, an easy weight loss paleo. So no, Jody, but Sugar Repair has a vegetarian option. Gut Health has a vegetarian option. Detox and Revitalize. So Sugar, Restore, Revitalize, but not paleo, not easy weight loss. But great ideas, and shoot me an email and I will put it on our to-do list. It's a little of a to-do list, like even right now we're working on the recipes for the detox. They do take a while to make sure that they are perfect, but we will get there. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, should you charge if you're a new coach and never worked with one-on-one? Part of me wants to charge a small fee to cover my cost. Okay, this is about the mindset. And Lara, I'm so happy if you are joining. I think Lara, you joined Health Coach Launch School. I have to check, but we are working on mindset that first week. I wrote a whole thing about mindset, and we're going to focus on this a lot throughout the entire time as well. don't feel guilty for charging. I made this mistake. I undercharged. I didn't believe in myself. And I still had to struggle with, money issues because that was just part of my story, struggling, like coming from a family that, we had. And so there wasn't ever this need to kind of like work. And so I just felt always guilty for some reason of like around money. Everyone's got their why of why they feel guilty. But just because you're new coming out doesn't mean that you haven't done this forever. It doesn't mean that that you don't know. And so you have to believe that you are worth having that person and that you are worth charging, and that's your time, which is so valuable. So I really want to empower you like right now at this moment to say like, that is an old story. This is a story that's like not going to serve you being a health coach, and it's not going to serve you to be a successful health coach at all. Like whether you are Oprah or whether you're Marie Forleo or whether you're, someone else like, Holly Thompson, who I've interviewed, who's great to interview, or Cora Pelage or Nisha Moodley, or, all the faces that you guys know of, like IN, like that mindset isn't going to serve you. The mindset that's going to serve you is I graduated with a reason and a purpose, and I know a lot. And, whether you've not coached before, coaching is just about a practice. It's like going to the gym the first time and doing a push-up. You can't do 30 or 50. Like you have to go in and you have to, some people can maybe, but not many. You have to go in and you have to exercise that, but it doesn't mean that you aren't strong going into the gym. It's just a muscle you have to exercise. So that's the same with coaching. So I would really encourage you to let's let go of that because it's not going to work, and get into the mindset of, no, I am going to come out and I'm going to charge this program. I'm going to make money because I'm going to help people. And the money is just the exchange of energy for service that you're doing that people need. The lives will be, oh my God, Karen, it's 1 a.m. The lives will be at 12:30 in the afternoon, and they will be recorded, so it will be fine. Oh my God, Karen, God bless you for being up at this time and listening to my raspy Jewish voice. Okay. Shelly's asking, do I have a contract to sign when I have people? Yes, I have people sign an NDA. I have them sign something because it is my program. We have to also believe in karma. Would I say that maybe somebody would steal? I don't know. I hope not. I've seen some crazy things in this world, especially selling done-for programs for many years. But I try to keep the faith and move forward and look at all of the great things and not the bad things. But yes, Shelly, and you can tag me in the forum and ask more about that. But I do always have somebody sign an NDA and saying something that is to the effect, this is my program, I own this program. And then you also decide how you're going to funnel this program out. Is it going to be your mail system, their mail system? And you define that in the proposal so that you're both signing that. Yes, let me just tell you. So also, these are the bonuses. We've been talking so long about my favorite topic, which is niche. I told you, and I didn't even think this would be long. Okay, so this is the coupon that you can use. Hustle Hard 15 is the discount. If you have used Hustle Hard 15, you can use Hustle Hard 10. You can't apply 2 coupons to one. So if, for example, if tonight you're buying Sugar Program and you want to come to the launch school, which is epic. I mean, it's really epic. I give you an opt-in freebie. I give all these different things. Plus, we get to go over, I mean, we didn't even cover niche. Well, we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes, but this Tuesday night, we're going to talk really about the school. And then I'm going to do a 3-part webinar series next week so you can see a little about mind mapping, how I map mind map a launch, We're going to really go into niche specific. But for the purpose of tonight, if you wanted to buy sugar or another program, you can use Hustle Hard 15. If you already used a program this season, then you can double dip, which is the first time I've done this ever. And you can use one of these. If you've already used 15, use Hustle Hard 10. If you haven't used 15, you can use them both. They are applicable to school. They're not applicable to payment plans, and they're not applicable to VIP, but they are applicable to the launch school. And then you get all these bonuses. You get the Health Coach Planner, which is a 44-page planner. I'm blown away by what's in there. I mean, Anna created this. She's helping me to create the school as well. She is a VA master. Then we created a health journal for you to give to your clients. Really sweet. It's a really nice gift. But again, that could also be your tripwire, $2, $3. It's a sweet little planner, like for them, almost like Vitamin Shop has one that I actually have. It's called like a daily goal getter. And she created this a while back, and I had seen it, and I was like, oh my God, can we give that to the coaches? And it just like takes them like all these little cute, like, did you drink enough today? Like all that like really cute stuff. Like, what are your goals today? Then you get 3 blogs, which I wrote, and it leads them to like your work with me. So it's leading them to like do something with you, a call to action. And then you get social media images. Then you get a master blog class with me. So we're going to talk about what we talked about earlier, like leading them to a call to action, testing, like learning your niche. Then here's the launch school for $397. It's going to go up after this. This is the only time it's going to be live. After that, it's just going to be a program that people can, come like as a do-it-yourself. I mean, we'll be still with the live streams weekly. I think that's really important for you guys, that interaction. But we'll still have our forum, but this will be the only time that we are doing it live. So yes, Fatima, which is, I love that name. That will be the different codes. Debbie's saying I'll be working with psychotherapists. There's also new yoga and wants me to offer. I think you had said that. How would you suggest a sales funnel program to them? Thinking a holiday guide. Okay, so let me see. Psychotherapist who's a new yoga teacher. Well, I think it depends on her clients, but I think a really easy one to lay out is if you wanted to do the holiday one, which could be a real like fun, 4-day kind of challenge, like start on a Friday, have a fun class on a Saturday, or do the class on a Saturday, kick it off in the end, and then lead them into, it depends on kind of her crew of people. But, gut is real kind of emotional as well and physical. Sugar is amazing. Revitalize might be really great because it has a whole movement aspect to it. One of my clients who does fitness as well, we were talking about this. It has a whole aspect of it. And I know like Fatima is also into fitness as well. And so you can do a whole fitness part of this. And she could do a whole part on movement and yoga. So you could have 4 weeks of ebooks and be taking them step by step through that. So that would be an option, Debbie. Kimberly is saying, are these programs part of the launch goal? No, the programs are separate. They're separate because they are copyright free. The only thing I own is that you don't own the right to publish them like on Amazon and Kindle. Otherwise, I would have thousands and thousands of coaches with books published overnight. And so, but they are copyright free. And so we do a lot of work. I mean, even just my chef is 1,500, let alone the design, and pretty much on average, and I say this always, like to have a writer write even a blog on the cheap end is $35 an hour. And a blog takes about an hour. So if you look at all the option freebies we have in the blogs and everything that you get, if I go on Facebook and I even look at what somebody is selling a PowerPoint for, or they're selling a program for with one sales page and a PowerPoint and an opt-in freebie. I see them going for like $297. So we really try to make them economical, because I remember having not the money for anything and needing them. Um, Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you being here, Lara. I appreciate you. Anita, oh, you're in the UK too. Oh my God, you guys are up in the middle of the night. Okay, so everyone needs to get their sleep. Um, okay, do all programs, Anita, all programs do not include raw dishes. I would say for you, if you are committed to 80-20 raw, um, then the raw would be great for you. Raw lifestyle. And then I've had many coaches who I went to detox school with get the detox program. You can easily take out the cooked foods and swap out. I do more of the cooked foods at night because I don't like microwaves and I don't believe in them. I haven't had one for, like 17 years. I asked my daughter actually the other day if she knew what a microwave looked like, and she said, I don't even know. So I was very happy to hear that. She's 7. So you could easily swap out that, or you can make just an amended. If you don't want to even mess with it, and just make an amended and say, this is my transitional raw. If you wanted to do this detox program, and I have a lot of people from Hippocrates or even from the detox school that I went to have bought this, and they've actually done that. They're like, you know what? I actually like that there's a warm meal at night, and that I can give a suggestion for those who are transitioning into a full raw or 80-20 or even like 95-5. So Anita, that's an option, is to just do an extra amended one saying for everyone who wants to be 100, if you want to be, this is what I would do. So, and Anita, if you want to, shoot me an email and I'll send you, I've been doing this, just the table of contents of the recipes for people. If you feel that, I want you to make the right decision, especially if you are really committed to that way of eating and for your clients, and for the way of coaching. Karen, you're so sweet. Yes, raspy voice, Jewish, under 5 foot, and from Philly. It's more than and an Aries, more than a trifecta. Okay. All right. Krista says, which programs includes all of the calendars? Yes, the launch school. That is it, Krista. And Krista, I do think the launch school, I know you've been wanting to do automation. I know you've been wanting to dive deeper into what is a launch for. And I just want to say this, the launch school is not, it is geared for anybody, meaning whether you're a brand new coach or whether you're more advanced. The way that I created this was that you learn a rinse and spin. And when you learn that, like, policy and procedure for doing this, it takes you out of that massive overwhelm. I have some coaches who are playing at high level, so to speak, and yet they get overwhelmed at a Dropbox, or they get overwhelmed at implementation. They are course junkies, but you need to be in the implementation mode of your business. And you need to have programs, I believe, in your back pocket to serve your website. Yes, have a disclaimer. Just want to say that. Have a disclaimer, all of that. But you want to be able to have them so that when somebody contacts you and they say, hey, how can I work with you? Or what does this look like? Or when you go and pitch to a gym, like, you've got these awesome, you've got something other than just walking up and being like, hey, I'm a health coach. Can I talk about, greens? Hate to break it. Like, everyone knows about that. We have enough Dr. Oz on TV. We really need to be able to come in and say, I want to do a PowerPoint on, or I want to do a workshop on, like, how to go gluten-free, or I want to do a workshop on, you know, how to get off sugar. I want to do a workshop on going grain-free or the benefits. Like we've got to kind of be able to take these up to a different notch. You know, so that we can also test and see what really works and see what helps, you know, our business and all that kind of stuff. Jen saying, what do I use for a shopping cart integration on your site? So you can put a disclosure acknowledgement. WooCommerce, you can. One shopping cart, but I would definitely not go to one shopping cart. Been having major issues in the last 2 years. WooCommerce, that's pretty easy. PayPal does not. I mean, you can put that in your terms of agreement, but it's not like they check the box. Stripe, I do think you can, but I think WooCommerce is probably the easiest. I would say if this is your first and you don't feel like you want to make that investment, I mean, it's not a massive investment, but it's still an investment. And you still need somebody to probably install it and kind of set it up and at least show you the ropes of it. Then I would look at Stripe. And I do think that you can put disclosure acknowledgement in there as well. But I still would have a terms and agreement, terms and conditions, and a disclaimer on your site no matter what. Even if you weren't even selling anything and you were just talking about a blueberry, no matter what state you're in, country or providence. I just believe that as being safe about your business. All right, guys, so with that being said, if you have questions, remember, I am alive tomorrow. I am here tomorrow. I call it, you know, Master Monday, meaning that I have my Mondays and my Fridays usually pretty open unless I need to schedule clients on a Friday. But that means that if you have questions, tag me in the forum, tag me in our support forum, or ask a question through our sales page at www.healthcoachbiz.rachelsbonis.com or email me through rachelsbonis.com. Sometimes Facebook messages get a little lost. If you're like, Rach, I need help in this area, like on what program, if you have questions about the launch school, I'm here. The cyber special does not end until tomorrow at midnight. Please, I go to sleep pretty much like around 10 o'clock or earlier because I naturally wake at 5, sometimes 4:50. My father's that way too. My son's that way. And my grandfather was that way. It's a genetic thing. So please don't, if you email me at like 10:30 Eastern Standard Time or 11 or 12 with like an emergency question about your niche, I'm not going to be able to get to it. If you need those questions, like email me tonight, email me tomorrow, all tomorrow afternoon. Like I'm here to make sure that you have what you need. I will be doing a webinar, like I said, on the launch school Tuesday night. That is on my site. And then I'm going to be doing, this is really epic cool, like whether you're interested in the launch school or not, but I think you will be after this. I'm going to be showing you how to leak out the launch and how to mind map your launch and a bunch of different things next week on a webinar. And I just posted that on Facebook today, I think under my events on my personal page. And if you're not friends with me, tell me. I think I'm at a friend limit, but I want to be friends with you. So shoot me a PM on Facebook and be like, hey, friend me. So with that being said, guys, have an epic night. Jessica's just saying, do the Facebook groups close tomorrow in the morning or the evening? No, Facebook groups, no, our support group, Jessica, always stays open. Our health coach group, if you're in one of the paid ones, that stays open. The only one that will be closing, that we close seasonally, just because it's a seasonal one, is the detox. But Jessica, find me wherever, tag me wherever. We do have our coach moderator in both. For the fall. No, they don't close. It doesn't close yet. No, it doesn't close for a few more days. I think it's about like 5 more days. So I would say if you want to tag me wherever or shoot me an email or shoot me a question through the sales page. Either way, and we will make sure that we have you all figured out, guys. All right, guys. It was a pleasure to be with you. We had such an epic fun night tonight. And yeah, this stuff is my jam. Love talking about this stuff. So I really encourage you guys to, yes, let go of old stories about pricing. You guys are all worth charging, not the price that I charged when I first got out of school because I was in massive exhaustion with a boatload of clients. Number two is that really think about multi-purposing and think about not always being in launch mode and think about, group coaching, on a monthly level, whether it's face-to-face or online. Just to recap, think about your niche, but think about your backstory and how it relates. And think about, what you really need to test. And if you don't have those people that you're testing because maybe you don't have the visibility yet, reach out to the very people that you're friends with. And at the same time that you're doing that, if you don't have the testimonials or you don't have feedback that you need, give them a program in exchange for, say, hey, can you give me some shout outs on Facebook? I really need that. I'm just, getting into this business. And I just need your support. And, I'm sure they will do it for you. I hope they will. And if not, I'll give you some shout outs. All right, guys. So thanks for being here. I look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Have an epic night. Drink some tea, chamomile, and have a little coconut oil. It'll calm your nervous system before your sleep and coat your myelin sheath. All right, guys. Enjoy. Have a good one. Bye.